Hi y'all, it's Penny Red with Timeless Paper Treasures, and today I'm going to be showing you how I make these little tag booklets. And this is going to be part of the Crafty Christmas in July 25 collaboration brought to us by Sweet Pea Papers. And I'm going to be using the Christmas Mice and Mushrooms kit provided to us by Creative Paper Artisan. And right now, during the month of July, it's 30% off, and all you have to do is use code CHRISTMAS at checkout on Etsy. Okay, so the first thing that we need is our prints, and I have chosen these and I've printed them out into the 3.5 by 5 because they're going to be the perfect size that I need to make this little tag booklet. So pick you out some prints from this adorable kit, and then we need some tags. So my tags measure about 6.5 inches by 3 inches, and I just got me a little stack of them here. And then we're going to need a scoreboard. So let me move these out of the way. Okay. So we're going to put our little tag in here. And the first score mark we're going to do is at 1.5 inches. So let me see if I can see this thing. So we're going to score at 1.5 inches, 1 7/8 inches. And then we're going to score at 4 3/8. Just like that. And then we'll just fold all of this until we get something that looks like that. Okay. And I'm just going to go ahead and score another one real quick. So our first score mark is 1.5 inches. Boy, this thing's hard to see. I need to color this one like I did my other one. 1.5 inches. 1 7/8 inches. Or 3/8. What did I say? 7/8. 1 inch and 7/8. And then 4 3/8. So that should be about right there. All right. Fold, fold, and fold. All right. So now we got 2 of them. And then I just want to ink my edges. Let me move these out of my way. So I'm going to get my edges inked real quick. So I already had all that done, huh? Pretty quick little easy embellishment to pop in your purse or journal. Take little notes on. There we go. Okay. Now you get to decide if you want this to fold this way and this be your opening on this side, or if you want to turn it and this be the opening on this side, or if you want it to be like this. It's all up to you. So our papers, get those here. off that for 1 second and I cut it crooked. Okay, so we'll start with those little pieces right there. Okay, now the first thing I do is lay this out the way that I want it to be. So I know that this is going to be my side. I want this over this. So I'm going to lay it down just like that. And I think I want this larger guy on this back flap right here. So I'm just going to lay this down and mark this where I need to cut that, which will be about right there. I'm going to lay it down here on my grid. Just line that little mark up so I can cut this off. There we go. So that one fits there, just like that. Now I want to scoot it down to here because I'd like to have that where it says Kringle Candy Cane Company. And then I'm going to make another little mark right here where I want to cut it. Just like that. This one, and it's going to be right there. And I just try to get it on there as centered as I can. Burnish it down real good. Probably be wise if we was to print all of our, or cut all of our little pieces first. And then try cutting it out. So I'm going to center this where I'd like to have it. And then I'm going to mark it there and there and cut those off. So yeah, as you can tell, I don't really like to measure things a whole lot. I just like to put it on there and whack it off. It makes my life so much easier. Okay, and then this one. That little mark up. And this little piece that I cut off here will fit right here really well. So I'm going to keep that for that little piece right there. Let's see, let's move it to where we have the Merry Christmas on here. And that's, I'm gonna mark here and here and cut those. There we go. And there's that piece is going to go right there. Then we have this piece for here. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this piece to there, and I'm just going to take my scissors and try to cut that straight like that. And then we get to decide what picture we want for the front and how we want it. Let's see. Yeah, I think I do want that little mushroom there, just like I did in the first one I made. I'm going to move that one out of my way though, because I want to see where I want to put this. Alright, I want it right there and right there. Scoot that down just a smidge, and then mark that right there and right there, and cut that one. Pretty simple little project. I really like making these little things for little thank you gifts or if I can get my ruler to move. Technical difficulties. There we go. All right, now to get my little edges, I'm just going to lay this down like that and draw my lines on there. Go. Okay, now let's ink these up, and we'll get these glued on there. Okay, so I take my knife and I try to get underneath this if I can. Because I like to put this on the top back over my print that I'm gluing down. And you know, if you go to coffee stain these, if you have some that you've already coffee stained, these little things will fall off in the water. Usually come unglued when you're soaking them. And I save them to glue them back on. Sometimes they'll release pretty easy, and sometimes not so much. There we go. I got it off of there. Okay. So I want to save that. And I don't save it from the back side. It's hard enough to get it off of one side. And then I try to line this up as even as I can get it on here. There we go. And let's ink this piece. If I can keep a hold of it. There we go. And then we'll put that on after we punch our little hole. Make sure you get your corners stuck down real good. Alright, now we're going to turn this over and punch our little hole, like so. And then we're going to ink this little booger. Go. Okay. And there we go. And that's how I get those back on there. Okay. Now let's do the inside. I didn't do the inside of the other one. Now if you wanted to glue your strings underneath here that you close this with, I think we'll do that. Try to do that first on this next one, if time allows here. So then you get to decide what you want to line this with. And I think I'm going to cut out one of these little papers here. These are some of the background papers that was in this kit. Okay. Now, it's on this side, so I want to start over here. Let's see, how do I want to do this one? There. And mark it right there. So we'll cut that. The hardest part is trying to find your little marks when you pick it up. Anyway, it is for me. My eyes are getting older. All right. Oh, let's move it down to get that little guy on there. We can get them both on there if I'm careful, right? You. All right. Sometimes I think one of my marks on my paper is the mark that I made, and I make a mistake and cut it too short. So I have to go back and print out another piece of paper because I've made that mistake. Now we have the flap. That's going to go there. And next we'll do the inside here. Like that. And I don't know, we might be able to have enough to do this. Nope, no, not at all, Penny. What were you thinking? Oh, did I make that too? Hang on, I need to check. Nope, I think it's good. And there we go. There's that piece. And we can mark this for this little piece in here. There, scoot it up just a little bit, and there. So let me cut this piece first here. Get your ruler straight, Penny. If you don't hold that straight, your cut's not going to be straight. All right, and then I marked it up here on the top somewhere. There it is. I found it. I've got to get it lined up again here. There we go. Oh, that's not good. I didn't realize I was going to cut his head off. Let's try that again. I don't want to cut his head off. I want to make sure his little head's in there. So let's cut it right there and right there. Okay, we'll get it figured out. I just don't want to cut his little head off. There we go. the other side. Line that back up. There, that's better. Yeah, there we go. Much better. And those two. Then we need another piece for this. So let's just get a piece of this plain. Well, I didn't cut that very straight. Let's try that again. We're gonna mark it here and here and try to lay it down on here straight. Because cutting it out by hand with my scissors didn't work very well now, did it? That. I think we can just follow that line. Let's make sure it's straight though. If we do, yep, we can. Perfect. I didn't put my pen in my glue, so it's probably got a little dried up spot now. We'll see. We'll see if it's going to come out. Yeah, that's what I figured. It dries up in this little neck so fast. Now let's see if it'll work. I need to change the ink pad on my ink dauber thing. It's crumbling on me. Or you could hold it over here, Penny, to where you're not going to get the crumbles all over your project. Wouldn't that be nice? Let's go ahead and ink this one while we're got it open. There we go. This one, and then I believe our papers are like 2, and the little papers that we want to put inside, I think they're like 2 3/8 or something like that we're gonna cut. Well, I'm gonna tear them, we're not gonna cut them. There we go. And then there's our little booklet. Isn't that cute? Okay, now let's get our papers. Let me measure. Let's see. So yeah, it's about let's just do it at 2 3/8. So we're gonna get a piece of paper. If I can reach them. Okay. And I'm just gonna tear some strips at 2 3/8. Just fold these in half. Like so. Make sure that they fit in there. Looks good. Scoot it down just a little bit. I'll lay this on here because I don't want them sticking out the bottom. And I'm just going to rip that. And then ink like so. I'm going to get my tiny attacher. Like that. And a little scrap piece of fabric that I have. And these are 1 inch wide. Little pieces that I've ripped off. And we will just glue that down. So the first thing I want to do is take a pair of pliers, and I like to smash my little staples down so that they're not humped up and they lay a little flatter underneath everything. There we go. That's much better. And plus they don't poke your finger when you smash them. They're not sticking up as much. They're actually in the paper better. Okay. So I'm going to put a little bit of 3-in-1 on the front side. Like that. the back side, just to hold that in place. Okay. And then we're going to glue this inside of our little notepad holder, tag note holder. There we go. Just like that. And there we have our little notebook. Next we need is some string. So however much you think you're going to want. And then I'm going to pull it through that, put it back through here. If I can get it to go tight enough, it would be helpful. There we go. Come on. Keep pulling the wrong one. I'll get it. Maybe. And there we go. Just like that. And there's our cute little notepad made out of a tag. Adorables. Alright guys, well, thanks for watching. And go check out the other collaborators. And thank you again to Sweet Beef Papers and Creative Paper Artisan for the adorable Christmas mice and mushrooms kit. Thanks guys. I'll see you later.